Welcome to the RecoverMate Podcast, where love, sobriety, and life gets real. I'm Rick.
And I'm Danielle. We're a husband and wife team sharing our personal journey through sobriety. And together, we are having all the difficult conversations that most people are too afraid to have in their relationship.
We're diving deep into the hard stuff, from our own past to recovery, parenting challenges, finances, and everything in between that comes with building a life together.
And trust us, nothing is off limits here. We're keeping it raw, honest, and unfiltered because that's what recovery, love, and real life looks like.
So whether you're sober, curious about recovery, or just looking for ways to keep love alive while living a sober life, you've come to the right place.
We're excited to share our most forbidden conversations with you. So grab a seat, buckle up, and get ready for the kind of discussions that you won't hear anywhere else.
Let's go! And welcome back to another episode of the RecoverMate Podcast. It's been a hot minute.
It's been so busy. Seriously. Like, what has it been? 3 months?
Something like that, yeah.
Now, it's not because we haven't wanted to jump on the podcast, for sure. We have just had what some people would say is a crazy amount of shit go down. Some of it's been really great. Some of it's been a challenge. And some of it's just like, oh, for God's sake, like, do we really just need to deal with this right now? So we are so pleased to be back on the podcast.
Now, we thought we'd bring this episode just to fill you guys in on where we've been. I feel like we've done this before, going missing for a little bit and then giving you an update. But this time we thought we'd give you the good, the bad, the ugly in terms of where we've been the last 3 months and I guess where we're going in the future.
I will say we have actually needed some time. And I think it's really important because we promised that this podcast would be real, authentic, and unfiltered. And when you're going through stuff, sometimes you just need to pop a pause or a pin in the things that are going on in your life. And that's not to say that it's not important. And it's not to say that you've left it behind or you've forgotten about it. But just to give yourself the time that you need to really process and go through whatever it is that you need to go through. And so I just want to remind you all that, yes, we have been gone and yes, we are back. But if things are happening in your life and you're feeling the pressures of doing other things, it's okay for just a minute to get good in yourself again before you pick things back up.
And don't forget, we're always here. Feel free to reach out. We're always happy to take a phone call, message it back if something's going down you want to talk about. Like Danielle said, we are back and we are ready to hit this full frontal again.
So, where the fuck have we been? What have we been doing? What's going on? All the questions that we have been asked. And it's so amazing, honestly, because for a minute there we thought, well, if we kind of dropped off and really just buckled down and did what we needed to do, no one would really notice. Oh boy, were we wrong. We had so many people message us going, guys, when's your next episode coming out? Or I haven't seen anything on social media. You guys have gone quiet on TikTok. Like, where are you guys? And I just want to say that, one, first and foremost, thank you so much to those people who did reach out because it did make us also think, oh, okay, people were really looking forward to our episodes or we are really making a difference. And not that we didn't think that, but it was just a nice reminder. And so for that reason, we looked at different ways to keep ourselves present and also just plug into our other programs and things that we had going on at the time. But yeah, so I suppose to answer some of these questions, like what has really gone on in the last 3 months? And when I look back on it, I suppose like we haven't even had time to even debrief and stop for 30 seconds and even talk about what's happened in the last 3 months. But I would even say even a bit further than that, this year has been massive for us so far, not just in our own personal growth, but just so much movement going on around us and in our lives and our kids' lives. So last 3 months have looked a lot like inner self-work. I guess for us it was winter, it's cold, and our first and foremost is always looking after ourselves and doing what we need to be good, but also what's going on in our kids' lives. And for the last few months, soccer has been taking over all of the extra time that we have had, and easily 8 to 12 hours per week. And I think, what was it, like for 6 weeks straight, we had rain every weekend. And we have 2 kids, and sometimes they don't play in the same location. So like essentially our whole Sunday is wiped out, as well as just managing our teams, making sure everyone
we also
turns
coach
up.
these teams, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
we have to be there. We can't not go.
Yes, and so it's just like managing all of these people and managing all of these kids, and also doing the trainings. And so I guess a big chunk of our extracurricular activity has gone to soccer. And amazingly, now that soccer season's over, it finished last weekend, so that's why we're back. But one of the highlights for me has just been enjoying the kids. Like, you don't see it in the moment, but you look at, okay, the season's over, and you see these little kids that have come through that have never played soccer before, and you're teaching them the skills, you're teaching them the game, and you're igniting passion, and you're trying to inspire and motivate them, and then also make sure that they're listening and they're learning and they're not interrupting others. But it's just amazing watching all of them grow, and how much of a difference this year has made, not just to them, but also to us. Like, it was a massive growing point. And I already am like, oh, I miss the kids. Like, I look back on photos, and we had an incredible mum for our under-8s team. She was taking photos, and she puts them up every week, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss seeing the highlights of the last game and having a laugh with the parents about the funny faces the kids have pulled. Or I suppose when you're in it, you're in it. And then when you step out of it, you're like, oh wow, that was really, really great. But Ricky had this fucking amazing idea, which was like, yeah, let's do a parents versus kids soccer game and make it a bit of fun. And, so anyway, you organised it all.
Yeah, and set everything up
and set it all up. And the parents showed up. Some of them had like the sweatbands, and, they were all ready to go. Some parents had the footy boots. And anyway, to paint the picture, it's a big oval. We were the only idiots that decided to go down because it was Parents vs. Kids Week, and it was pissing down rain. And I mean, it was like, I think the whole week up until that day, it was absolutely pouring. And then Ricky's like, yeah, we'll still go ahead. There's like a window where we're going to play the game, and it's not meant to be raining. So anyway, he's convinced all of us that it's okay to go down. It was amazing. We had parents slipping and sliding. We had kids having the times of their life, because how often do you really get to go out and play against your kids? And, so we had parents that were tripping their kids up, and the kids trying to trip you up. And then, so it was a lot of fun until it started raining. So this fun in the sun.
For reference, when I went and set the field up, it was a nice sunny day. There was no rain at all. And then up until about half an hour before we were going to play the game, it rained for about a solid 5-10 minutes. And I was in a bit of strife thinking that we might have to cancel this game. Lucky enough, the rain went away, but obviously the field was still a bit wet. All the parents came down, the kids came down, we're still happy to play, and we played. Now, most of us were wearing normal trainers or normal running shoes, where trying to run on wet grass is obviously a little bit harder than one would think. It's quite slippery. But for the first half of the under-8s game, it wasn't too bad. A bit of slip and a bit of slide, but it wasn't too bad. Come half-time, the skies decided to open up, and it absolutely bucketed down for a good solid 10 minutes. We were all grabbing our stuff, running for cover, hiding under the veranda, or the little undercover area that was down near the oval, and watching this rain just hurtle in to the point where I think it was almost even hailstones coming down, and we're all a bit, worried that might be the end of the game. As I said, 10 minutes went past and it all stopped. And we're like, do we still play? Of course, the kids want to play still. The parents are a bit iffy, but the kids wanted to play, so we carried on and played again. We went over to the field to notice that the field that we'd set up for this game was absolutely drenched. There was puddles everywhere, there was mud. So we decided to just move the goals across about 50 meters just to get to a less muddy area.
It was so bad, honestly.
It
Like,
was just as bad as the other one. It wasn't
puddles.
just as bad as the other one. It just wasn't as muddy, I guess, but it was still water everywhere. Long story short, we still played the game. Everyone slipped and slided. Everyone had an absolute blast. Until about 5 minutes to go in the second game against the under 11s. So the game's going well. It was where 6-on-12, I think, was the teams. The six of us parents.
And at this point, right, like we'd already played one game with our under 8s. So one game had gone past. Myself and Rick, we're playing both games because we've got 2 kids in both teams. So we're in the last 5 minutes and we played 35 minutes, 40 minutes of soccer, and it's now dark and the fields are drenched and waterlogged. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like we've been so lucky to get this far with nobody being injured.
Take to about 5 minutes left to go in that game. And there was a pass down the wing, and Danielle in all her glory was sprinting towards this ball, got to it, and as she went to stop, her feet decided that they didn't want to stop at the same time. So what had happened is that Danielle had basically slipped up in the air, gone horizontal, landed straight in her back, and then whiplashed her head onto the ground. Now, if you've seen it from my point of view, it was fucking hilarious. Until I noticed that Danielle hadn't moved on the ground afterwards. So, in shock, I ran over to help her up. She was in a lot of pain, got her back to her feet, continued laughing, and then we played the game.
And we won, and it was amazing. And I kicked 3 goals. And in saying that, as soon as the game had stopped, so as soon as I'd stopped running, as soon as we were packing up, I'm like, oh God, my back is killing me. And I had like an instant headache. So Ricky packed up the field. I jumped in the car and I was driving home and it's dark and I was suddenly getting irritated by the car lights. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, I'm heading home, whatever. I get home and I vomit. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. I'm not feeling well. I've got a headache. And then I thought, oh, what's the chances that I've got a concussion? And I didn't think too much of it. We kind of had a bit of a joke about it. We chucked it up in the group chat and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the next day I went to work and I'm sitting in the office. I've got massive board meetings and I'm staring at my computer and things are just like blurry. Things are moving. And I looked at the time and I'd been staring at my computer for 40 minutes. So no work had been done. Nothing had been done. And then I'm like, okay, my neck's sore, my head's sore, my whole body's sore, but I expected my whole body to be sore. I've just run out bloody 2 soccer games. And I can't tell you the last time I've done that, or if I've ever done that. And
or ran.
or run anytime recently. So I went over and I flicked the lights off in my office. And I was just sitting in pitch dark. And the guy I work with, he come in and he was like, why are we in the dark? What's going on? And I was like, oh, I've just got this headache. I've got this thumping headache. And I told him the story about the soccer game. And he goes, you know, you probably should go home. I was like, probably. You know, I'm feeling okay. I'm sure it's fine. And when you're in that much pain in your body because you've decided to run for the first time in God knows how long and do all the things that you thought you could do when you were a child and now you're an adult, I really couldn't decipher what pain was because I'd hit my head and hurt my back from the fall, or just simply because I'd been running and I'd been tackling and sliding and falling over and playing with the kids. So to me, like, it was just pain all over. So I go to this meeting and I'm sitting in the boardroom and I'm having this conversation with one of our counselors and we're doing a presentation. And the next minute, I get a hand tap of are you okay? To then realize that I was completely hallucinating and I was having a conversation. Well, I thought I was having a conversation with a counsellor and no one knew what the hell was going on. So after that, Ricky got the text that I was being dropped home, and everyone's humorous about it. I'm humorous about it, and we end up going to the doctor to find out, yes, I do have indeed a concussion, which, by the way, rocked me for at least 2.5 weeks. Like, how long has it been now? Since maybe 3 weeks? And I still feel there are moments where I'm just catching up. And if anyone knows me, I run at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm incredibly efficient. I'm incredibly quick-witted. And I still feel like my brain is slower than normal. And for me, that was just so irritating. So
it brought you back down to the rest of us.
and Ricky had to look after me. So, I'm sure I was a delight for those 5 days.
Dr. Rick was on the case.
Dr. Rick was on the case. And, I hated that I had to take time off work. I hated that, I joked with the guy I was working with and I just said, you have to be dead to be going home from work. And he goes, well, you're a liability, so you've got to go. And now it's a running joke and a running theme. And anyway, a few days later, I look at my shoes from the soccer match and they've completely fell apart. So I had no idea really what was going on or what type of great idea we thought that was. And thankfully, I was the only parent injured and there were no children injured. So in a nutshell, despite it being horrific weather conditions and none of us really being kitted up to play 2 games of soccer, I'm glad that in a nutshell it was me. So
in a nutshell, you're a liability.
in a nutshell, I'm a liability. Yeah. But anyway, so I was dealing with a concussion for a good 2.5 weeks, which meant that essentially my brain just wasn't working. And I'd had a concussion before. I realized I actually forgotten that I had, but I realized I did have one a few years back where I fell off a stage at Metro's nightclub in Fremantle and cracked my head open and had to go and get stitches, but completely forgot that because you don't remember any of those things when you've got a concussion. So, yeah, but it was the first time that I'd actually was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be okay after this. Like I really was dizzy. I'd had all of the symptoms. And yeah, so I suppose for us, there was just a good at least two and a bit weeks where everything has just slowed right down, which I guess has been a nice message from the universe for me, is when you do run at 1,000,000 miles an hour, it's nice to just, I guess, slow down.
Yeah, well, everything was so fast-paced, I suppose, before that head knock that you received. So, we were flying different cities. We'd gone to Brisbane. We'd done an event there. We were there for the best part of 5 or 6 days. Flew back to Perth. And the following weekend, we did another event for those 3 days. You've also done different events down 2.5 hours south of where we live, twice within a month, 2 5-day events. So there was so much going on for us. And everything just seemed like it was the next thing, that maybe this was a sign from the universe to try and slow you down a little bit.
Yes. And, it's so interesting that you say that because, coming back to those events, like that has been one of the highlights of the last few months where we do get just the time and the opportunity to fly to Brisbane and be there for 3 days and be in contribution and help other people change their lives. And I know for us, that has been one of the biggest highlights of the last few months. And then also to come back home, and I know I wasn't originally booked for the Perth event, but it was so nice again to come back the weekend after getting back from Brisbane and jumping straight into another event. And for us, it's just like, wow, like we love doing this. We love being of service and we love helping people really do the work that it takes to change a life. And so I know for us, it's been a massive highlight. And yeah, and then prior to that, like you said, being down south, I had 2 women's retreats and they were a month apart and they went for 4 days. And it was just amazing being in a room with women and being of service and helping and just being around that type of energy and really slowing down and being present with ourselves and our bodies. And it's just things that we just don't take enough time to do. When I did come back and I hit the ground running and jumped straight back into a few more events and into full-time work and having kids and family, I can definitely see that the universe was like, you need to slow down. So
That's what it sounded like.
stop it. Yeah, so I mean, there's been some unfortunate things as well that have circulated, and things that have been tough. So unfortunately, we had lost a family member a few months ago as well, quite suddenly and tragically. And I know for the people in our lives, it really rocked a lot of people. You don't expect that to ever happen, and that was really tough. You know, we were doing our best to be there for the people that had really closely impacted, and also be there for our kids. It was the first time for them that someone close in their life had passed. And, you know, you just don't ever expect that to happen. And I know for me, it was real heartbreak that someone so close to me who has watched me my whole entire life and been there for me suddenly pass so suddenly, and also just the impacts that it's had on you and the kids as well, and our close family. And yeah, it's just not nice. So for that reason, you know, you don't expect that. You don't expect someone so young to leave so soon. I guess it's the first time we've really had to navigate something like that together as a family. And then also just making yourself available to be there and support as much as you can, you know, the daughter and wife that he had left behind. So for that reason, yeah, that's been a tricky part of our last few months as well.
Yeah, like you say, just trying to navigate that, and I guess not so much make sense of it, but to accept it and, you know, be there for each other and everyone else that we can as well. You know, find the good.
Yeah.
That's part of the bad. There's always going to be bad situations, but there's always going to be something to learn as well. And something we picked up from that too was just to, you know, you can go at any time, so, you know, live your life to the fullest.
Yeah, and love each other. Like, love each other completely. You know, open your heart up and just really allow love in. And a beautiful gift that he had left was he lived his life. You know, he did everything that, or mostly everything that he wanted to do in this lifetime, and he loved his beautiful wife wholeheartedly. You could see that every time you saw them together. You could just see by the photos and the videos of them together, like, he loved with everything. And he was an incredible father. And he's raised such a beautiful daughter. And yeah, it's just sad to see. It's sad to see. But it's also very beautiful, the gift that he's left and the life that he's lived. So it's never a nice feeling. But yes, being there for each other as much as possible and supporting each other through this difficult time. And I know particularly for his wife and daughter, just how hard it is for them right now. So, you know, just trying to do your best to be there, and love them and support them as much as possible, because, you know, I could never imagine that happening, and it would break my heart losing you. So it's just the worst type of pain. We did have a few interesting things pop up. One of them was we were looking at rejiggling a few things around our house. So I think it was about 12 months ago, maybe a little while ago now, I can't quite remember, but we talked about refinancing our house. So I know for a lot of people, when you first get into a new house, you have different first home owners grants and things. And for us, we took the the lender's mortgage insurance. And what that meant was that the government essentially paid the lender's mortgage insurance, so we didn't have to come up with the extra percentage originally in our deposit. But for us, it was super important that as soon as we had the equity and as soon as we had the leverage to be able to get out of that, we wanted to do it as quickly as possible. So within the 12 months, we'd made it known to our broker that that was something we wanted to do. And so we have been going through that process of refinancing, and thankfully everything came through last week. So we're super happy to be on the other side of that, doing these big adult things that we didn't think we'd have to do, but just learning and growing as we go, being homeowners and what that means. And yeah, and you've also had some time off. It's a bittersweet time off, I feel. Like it's something that worked out so incredibly well in our favor is you being able to take months off. Couldn't have been at any better time, really. Like we've had so much happen, and you have just stepped up completely, and you've been taking the kids to school and been doing all the things that normally, like I would do, or normally I guess would be pushed to the side and dealt with later. And it's just been amazing having you home. And I know the kids have loved it as well. You were there for the school holidays, so you got to spend some time with the kids. And I don't think there's ever been a time ever that we've been together, or even since the kids have been born, that you've had that amount of time off to just be present and really focus on yourself. And I will say that since Ricky has stopped doing night shift, like he has just been completely different. Like it's like you've hit the reset button on yourself. You suddenly look younger and you're happier and you're much more in touch with your emotion. And it just goes to show how much shift work, and particularly night shift, like was wiping you out. So, we've had a lot of awareness. A shift has definitely happened with what is possible for us and what is possible for you, and what type of work is more suitable, and how do we actually get to where we want to go, and where do we want to go. And it suddenly just opened up all of these doors and opportunity, I guess you could say, of what really is possible. And it wasn't thinking twice about jumping on a plane and going to Brisbane, or jumping into another event, or like you're doing later this week, you're jumping on a plane and going to Bali for a week. So there's all of these things that I guess would be much harder to navigate had you been still in the shift work.
Yes, so essentially I've become the housewife.
Very good looking housewife, I would say.
Goes with the skirt. So I guess it's enjoying that downtime. It hasn't come without its challenges, obviously. You look at hours through the day and you don't realize sometimes how fast they go, how slow they go. You got so much things on. Next minute you're picking the kids up from school, like where that time go. But like I guess I sort of took this time for granted. Probably the first month and a half probably for granted in terms of what was going on. A lot of downtime, a lot of relaxing to myself, doing my own things. But really still, like you said, picking the kids up, taking them to school, taking their sporting events, made coaching soccer a whole lot easier. I wasn't trying to rush home from work, try and coach, or, be at work, have to rush off to coach a game or anything. So I guess it's been a journey of just getting some things done that I need to get done within myself, but also things at home. Like I've done projects at home. I've done outside paving through the side of a house. I'm now looking at doing a deck for a house. It's just understanding where everything is. It's actually how much goes into, I guess, the housework and cooking and cleaning and everything else. Like, as a guy, you do know what it takes. But I suppose if you're here every single day and then say you're at work or you're away, it's really getting an understanding of how much extra goes into it, how much you lose your day when you put so much effort into, cleaning the house all day or doing bits and pieces.
So what you're saying is you've got a newfound appreciation for what happens here at home and how much it takes to keep the house moving.
What I'm saying is I'm going back to work and I'm done. No, yeah, I definitely have. I've definitely got a new appreciation of the effort that goes into it. doing these adult things with cleaning the house, or adult things with picking dinner every night, choosing a new meal every night that you can have for dinner, and trying to change it up for the kids. You don't want the kids having the same thing every night, but then also trying not to go too lucrative where you either spend too much money or take too much time to cook.
It's a real balance.
There's a real balance for sure. So, but no, all in all, look, I've really enjoyed having this time off to actually spend more time with the kids, more time being present with myself, as well as what's going on around me, more time being present with you when you're not at work, when you're having your couple of days off that you have during the week to have at home. And then also just being able to then go out and do what I want to do around all these things. Because I've gone out and, hit the golf ball a couple of times. I've had some family that come to Perth, and I've caught up with them on a school day to just hang out for a bit. Kids at the holidays, I was able to be home with them through the holidays and not have one of us have to take time off work. Youngest son was sick for a few days the other week. So rather than you having to miss time off work or me have to take time off, I could be here with him and look after him for those couple of days. It's allowed us to not throw spanners in the works in terms of things go on, because then I can be here to pick everything up that needs to be picked up in terms of the kids, in terms of things going on at home, in terms of emails, calls, everything we need to do to chase things up. I've had the time to be able to do that, which has been, nicer than I think I've actually appreciated throughout this whole time.
Yeah, I will say that, like, it's so interesting. When you're in the thick of it, you just don't realize that what's actually happening to you is happening for you until you're on the other side to it, and you're like, wow, like everything that just happened worked completely in our favor. And while you're stressing about it and while you're unsure about what's going on, it's like, why did I even spend so much time stressing about it and worrying about it? Like, you try to be in action and take the right steps, sure, but it's really that learning of letting go of what you can't control. And I know I watched you do that really well through the last few months, particularly just going, you know what, it is what it is. I'm going to let it go. And you just, I think, got a newfound love for your life. Like, I feel like you've just really realized that you've got more capacity to do more things. And it's been amazing having you do all of the things. And I will say it, ladies, every day he was cooking and cleaning and taking the kids to school and doing the washing in the windows. There was, sunshine.
You make me hot.
But also just being really present and available. And when I was unwell with the concussion, you just being there for me and looking after the kids, like, it meant a lot. And I suppose, like I said, the timing of this worked out just really well. You really hope that you can do other things in that time off, but it was time that I think we both needed to just reset and really put into perspective what it is that we actually want to be doing and the people that we are, and slowing down enough to do the work on ourselves. When you are moving so fast all the time, you can block out emotion and you can shut down essentially those parts of yourself that keep the dreaming alive. So yeah, I mean, I think we came out so much stronger in the last 3 months. I now know what you're 100% capable of. So to me, that is amazing. But also just, yeah, it's been a busy period. Like, we've had a lot happen. So, I mean, you sent this beautiful quote the other day, and it was like, I'm going to say this wrong and you might remember, but, being grateful for a life that you'd wished for that's so busy, or something like that. It's just appreciating a crazy life and a big life, but it's one that you always dreamt of and one that you'd always wished for. And I saw you put a quote that was similar like that. I definitely got it wrong, but you get the idea, in one of our group chats with the people that we do some contribution work with. And, it was just beautiful, and it really highlights and captures the last 3 months. And it just made us realize that we do need to spend more time off. So I know for us, we've with things all wrapped up with a nice, beautiful, big red bow on it, and you heading off to Bali very soon. I don't even know when. I think by the time this episode comes out, you will already be in Bali. But like even just going and doing that, and there not being any problems because of time off, there not being any financial problems because of that, like just going because you know it's what you need to do and you're going to have a good time. And it's just a guy's trip.
Yeah, definitely going to enjoy it. This whole thing will allow me to just be free and show up as my true self and not having to stress about, like you said, the finances or work or everything else. Like I can just sort of go and be there for me. This whole trip is going to be about the development side of things still. It's not a boys' trip as everyone might think it is. It's not one of those kind of things. It's still an event and it's still going over with essentially a bunch of guys that you're all in the same boat, doing the personal development within the same group. So within that's going to be still learning about yourself, still working on yourself, how to better yourself, but then also having some fun on the side as well and going out and doing some activities together and letting a bit of testosterone out and
Bit of competitive
edge coming through and wanting to beat each other like we always do. So now it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
And I'm really glad because you deserve it. Like you really do. Like from the moment that we first got together, you've always worked. Like I don't think there's ever been a time that I've known you to have any more than 2 weeks off, and it's because we've either traveled or we've moved or something's gone on. Like you've always continuously worked. And we've been together for almost 13 years. So I'm so glad that this has just worked out how it has. And you are able to go away on your own with a few guys that, you absolutely love and you're going to have a great time with, and also do some work on yourself that you need to do. And I know just keep coming back better and stronger. And it's just amazing. And I'm really happy for you that you get to experience that as well.
Maybe it's the first time, I guess, leaving the country on my own as well. Obviously I'm going with guys, but not going with, I guess, parents or partner or kids, or it's the first time really just flying as a solo. So that'd be, again, interesting.
New experience.
And if anyone knows anything about Enneagrams, me being a 7, it can get very dangerous. And I'm also sharing a room with another 7, and we also like adventure. So not to scare you or scare anybody else, but we're hoping we'll make it every morning for the event.
And for reference, if you know what that means, that 7s love to do big activities, they big foodies, they like experiences. So no doubt they'll be out experiencing all different parts of Bali, probably be doing crazy activities and whatever they can find that would be fun, they'll be doing. So without
our wives with their gut feelings, this isn't a good idea. They're still going, you think it's good? I think it's good. You think it's good? No, we're out doing stuff. So.
But yeah, so I'm excited for you. It's going to be great. I know you're going to have a fantastic time. And it's just awesome. And I guess that's the best thing when, you get to that part in your relationship where you're doing so much work on each other and on yourselves, that you do build a beautiful connection, that you want your partner to actually go out and live their life and do whatever it is that makes them happy, providing as long as they're still looking after the family and they're doing it based around integrity. And I know what is so beautiful about this bunch of guys that are going over is it's all based off that. It's all based off family and doing the right thing, but also just going and having fun and living your life and doing what you want to do. And so for me, like, I'm excited for you to go. And I'm sure when you get back, we'll jump back on and tell you guys about how it all went. So
letting your hair down and, working off a bit of steam, but it's all doing it in the right way with the right people. So
for sure. And I'm sure there's a whole other bunch of stuff that happened. We had a couple of birthdays. Our daughter turned 11. Your mum turned 50. So that was very exciting. And so I think you and your brother had organised a nice little thing for her to go swimming with dolphins, and she went hot air ballooning. It was amazing. So that was really great.
Daughter had laser tag for her birthday.
Yes.
And I killed all the kids.
And Ricky was the big kid that went in.
I schooled them all.
Shooting all the kids for laser tag. So wonderful. But so there's been lots of highs and lows, and there's been lots of experiences and challenges along the way, and things that we thought would be easy to deal with and things that we thought, well, how the fuck do we even deal with this? So, which seems to be, if we could caption this year exactly that, how the fuck do we deal with this? Just one thing. But you've got to look at it as a whole. And when you step back and you're not in it and you're not in the emotion of it and you're not doing anything, but you just look at it and you're observing, it's like, holy fuck, like we had to go through all this. We have to experience this. And one of the beautiful gifts is that we always do it together. So it's not you trying to deal with it on your own and I'm trying to deal with it on my own. Like we dealt with it together. Whatever was coming, we just were dealing with head on. And it just makes things better and it makes us stronger. And yeah, so with all of that being said and done, it's been a very hectic but insightful last few months. Our life is just going to look really different. And, we're excited about that next chapter as well. So we will not forget you guys anymore. We promise. We do have a few amazing interviews coming up with some people as well. So over the next few weeks, you will hear some new episodes, ones with some new people. So that's going to be really exciting and their stories. So please stay tuned for those. And yeah, come back to listen to Ricky's adventurous Bali trip because I know you guys will want to hear about that because for sure he's going to get up to something hopefully amazing, but definitely dangerous.
I will no doubt be in trouble when I get home.
Oh, you will not. You'll be fine. Let's hope.
Real confident there. I see that. But yeah, I can't wait to get back and tell you all about it. All right, guys, that's another episode of the RecoverMate Podcast. Look forward to talking again soon. Bye.
Thanks, guys.